May our time together be of benefit to all people, all beings, and all life forms. Let us start with a mindful pause. If you feel safe enough to do so, gently close your eyes to help turn your attention inward. Gently take slow, deep, effortless belly breaths. Calmly feel the air as it moves in and out of the body. If thoughts arise, let them arise, but pay them no attention. Just kindly focus on all of the sensations of breathing. Let all thoughts and worries about today, the past week, and the days ahead fall away into the background of your awareness. Lovingly be here now, peacefully, calmly, with a kind interest in the sensations of breathing. Then gently reflect on how this course has served and benefited you so far. Kindly reflect on how taking this course has served your family and friends. Your coworkers and acquaintances. And all beings and all life. We are on lands that have been cared for by Indigenous people for generations. We offer our goodwill and thanks to all Indigenous people, past and present, and we stand in solidarity with you to protect and honor your inherent dignity, culture, treaties, and lands. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for coming to Class 8 of Mindfulness Fundamentals. In this class, we're going to start with a brief check-in to see how your practice is going, and then do a loving kindness meditation. Afterwards, I'm going to share a talk called Let Love Rule, and we're going to talk about how to renounce judgment, forgive those who harm us, and relate with kindness towards all life. So that's the agenda for tonight. Let's check in. For those of you who are course participants and veteran meditators, I'm just going to cut and paste into the chat what we'd like you to post. If you could put the number for course participants, it's the same check-in pretty much as always. Number of days meditated, number of days you set intentions, number of times investigated, number of times you gave thanks, and then a few sentences just on how your practice is going. And then I put my answer in there. And veteran meditators, just share whatever gratitudes are on your heart. You could do one or more, whatever you're genuinely thankful for. All right. Julie responds 662 and 5 to 10. Investigations are really helping me recognize some unhelpful thinking patterns. Excellent, excellent. And Dan's thankful for Brittany Griner's release. Is that her? B. Griner? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm messing up her first name. And also the Marriage Act that our president signed today. Excellent. Thankful for being more active this past week and my health. Grateful for family. I'm thankful for good friends. Gail's report 6, 5, 1, and 8 to 12. Definitely helps me stay more positive and happy. Excellent. Good. And those numbers look really good. Scott 7, 7, 2, 8 to 14. Kept at it, but seemed to get distracted a bit more through the meditation. I did one Bilotti investigation immediately after a stressful situation, and it was great. Woohoo! Yay! Somebody's working the Bilotti. Love it. All right. And Jane is thankful for her family and friends. Excellent. Any questions that people have about your practice or what you're up, what's going on for you? Oh, and here's Susan, 766 and 5 to 20. Bonfire is now my favorite. That's why we do that one. It's always somebody's favorite. And I know, Scott, you were having difficulties with it, but and there was more space in this meditation. There was less heavy involvement of me leading it. So it's okay to that you're probably got a little bit more distracted. I'm gently taking the training wheels off, so to say. Helping you remind yourself to be mindful while you're meditating. So, yeah. Cool. All right. That looks like everyone then. So I am going to were there any other questions or comments about the assignments or your practice? Wonderful. I'll just assume things are going well then, because your numbers are good and you're all sitting there with smiles on your face. So so let's move on to our meditation for today. It's going to be a loving kindness meditation. This is going to be similar to, we did a 4 kinds of love meditation earlier in the course. It's going to be very similar to that, only we're going to focus on the loving kindness portion. And traditionally, when doing this meditation, we first focus, well, we focus love at a variety of different individual beings, all of whom are alive, and usually starting with someone you really have an open heart for. So we're going to say a benefactor, and then moving on to a friend, and then a neutral being, which would be someone who we don't really know that well, but we see around and we have no strong feelings for either way. And then we progress to a what's known as a difficult being, which is someone who irritates us or annoys us, aggravates us. And when we do this, because many of us are new to this practice, we really want to start with easy, difficult beings. We don't want to go to our worst enemy, like our major nemesis in life or nemesis. We just want to start with easy, difficult beings because we're just slowly learning how to relate with loving kindness to all life. But we don't want to go into areas that are going to be traumatic for you or that are just going to cause you to close your heart or make you feel unsafe. So that's a little bit behind the how the practice works. And with that, I think we'll just get started. So let's prepare. If you can, please review your flashback halting protocol or your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise and keep it handy. And always remember, if ever feelings or memories start to arise that are too destabilizing for you to hold with compassionate mindfulness, then stop meditating, open your eyes, Remind yourself that you are in a safe place. Get up and do whatever you need to do to feel safe and in control. Okay, so get into a comfortable position that will help you stay awake. And if wise, keep your eyes closed to direct your attention inward. If you're at risk of falling asleep, then you may want to open your eyes and gaze in an unfocused manner at something pleasing that doesn't stimulate a lot of thought. Meditation is an act of love for ourselves and all life. Kindly anchor your awareness on your heart space. Gently invite the heart to be warm, open, and receptive. The heart communicates with us, but not with words. The heart communicates using sensations. Listen to your heart by feeling your heart. What are your heart's loving intentions for this meditation? Does your heart do this meditation out of self-love for your own benefit? That's wonderful. Who else does the heart dedicate this meditation to? Does your heart want this meditation to benefit your loved ones? Excellent. And who else? Does your heart wish well to all the people who you don't know? Does your heart want them to be happy and peaceful? And what about people who cause harm to others and themselves? Does your heart wish that they may be free from their misery and know their inner love? Kindly ignore the thoughts in the head and simply listen to the heart. Does your heart wish well for people who cause harm? Check in and see. Does your heart's love only extend to your own species, or does it wish well for animals of other species too? Does your heart's love only extend to living beings, or does it wish well for plant life, bacterial life, ecosystems, and other life forms? Kindly ignore the thoughts in the head and listen to the heart. Does your heart exclude any life forms from its love, or does the heart simply love to love? What do you notice? Having listened to your heart, what are your heart's loving intentions for this meditation? Who does your heart genuinely want this meditation to serve and benefit? And if you're unable to hear your heart right now, then who do you love that you can dedicate this meditation to? Peacefully position yourself in a comfortable manner and take a few deep, effortless belly breaths to relax and calm the body. Aim to experience comfort and tranquility throughout this meditation. Kindly anchor awareness on the felt sensations of the heart space throughout this meditation. Notice whatever sensations you feel in the heart area. Gently bring to mind a benefactor, any being who has showed you kindness, helped you, inspired you, or provided you love and support. Pick someone who you deeply respect, who it is easy to open your heart to. You can either visualize them or have a felt sense of them in front of you. Reflect on their praiseworthy qualities and how they have served and benefited your life. If anything about your benefactor arises that causes your heart to close, notice that and set it to the side for now. Kindly focus on all of the good qualities of this person. Gently have a sense of this benefactor offering you love, kindness, and goodwill. Loving energy radiates out from their heart space and fills your own with love. You may see this as a beam of white or colored light, or simply have a felt sense of this energy. This love tells you you are worthy of love. You are worthy of care. As much as you can, open your heart to this truth that you are worthy of love. Patiently and joyfully receive the love from your benefactor. Now offer your own goodwill to them. As you say these phrases silently, connect with the deep meaning and felt sense of them in your body. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. Feel if your heart is opening or softening. If you feel a sense of love within or around you, then settle into that feeling. Invite that feeling to grow so it fills and surrounds you. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. Continue to send them goodwill using your own words and wishes for their highest good. If you have a strong felt sense of energy in your heart space, then let go of the words and simply send that love directly to them. Let it radiate from your heart as light, color, or energy. Gently now, let's move on to offering love to ourselves. Have a sense of yourself either sitting here, or if it is easier, envision yourself out in nature, or in a room at home that makes you feel safe. Calmly reflect on something about yourself that you appreciate or that you are grateful for. Bring to mind all of the good qualities and all of the goodness that may arise in you from time to time. If anything arises that blocks your ability to appreciate yourself, kindly notice it and compassionately set it to the side for now. For now, just focus on what is pleasing and skillful about yourself. And now silently offer yourself goodwill and love. May I be safe and protected. May I be peaceful and happy. May I be healthy and strong. May I be safe and protected. May I be peaceful and happy. May I be healthy and strong. Connecting with your heart space, let its loving energy flow out to fill your whole body, surround your body, and fill the room with your love and gratitude. May I be safe and protected. May I be peaceful and happy. May I be healthy and strong. Using your own words now, or the phrases that we've been using, offer goodwill and kindness to yourself. Gently moving on, let go of yourself with love as we pick a beloved friend or relative or other being who is easy to open your heart to. Have a visual or felt sense of this being in front of you. Reflect on all that you admire, cherish, and love about them. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. As always, if there's a strong felt sense of loving energy in your heart, you may drop the words and simply radiate that energy directly to your beloved being. Otherwise, continue to offer them goodwill using silent words. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. Continue offering them your goodwill using your own words or by energetically sending your love directly to them. Gently now, we let go of our beloved being with love and turn towards a neutral being. This is a being you don't know that well and have no strong feelings for either way. They could be someone you meet as you go about your day, like your mail person or a cashier at a store or the neighborhood squirrel. Gently visualize who you have picked or have a felt sense of them sitting in front of you. Calmly reflect on the truth that all beings want to be safe, happy, and peaceful. Just as we want to be safe, so too this being. Can we wish them goodwill and offer them kindness? Just as I want to be safe, may you too be safe and protected in all ways. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. Share your kindness with them using your own words or energetically sending your love directly to them, or by using the same phrases we've been using. Having generated love and goodwill with those who are easy to open our hearts to, we now pick a being who is more challenging to open our hearts to. Settle on a being who you find mildly annoying, yet know there is a possibility of opening your heart to. If who you pick does not feel safe, then set them aside and choose someone else who is not as challenging. Have a sense of this being in front of you. Compassionately see if there is any quality or kind acts they've done that you can appreciate about them. If any thoughts arise that close your heart to them, simply notice them and compassionately set them to the side for now. We only want to focus on what's good and skillful about this being. If you are unable to find anything to appreciate about them, then gently notice in what ways this being has suffered. Do they grieve the death of a loved one, suffer from disease or illness? Are they afflicted by the falsehoods of hatred, greed, and fear? Gently inventory all of the suffering and bad fortune they've had in their life, and see if noticing their suffering helps to soften your heart towards them. Kindly now, do your best to send them some unconditional love and goodwill. Just as I want to be safe, may you too be safe and protected. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong. Keeping this person in the field of your love, bring in a sense of your benefactor on one side of them and your beloved friend on the other side of them, and the neutral being next to your friend. If it feels safe, you can all hold hands in a circle. Otherwise, just have a sense of you and them all together in one group. Gently offer your goodwill towards all 5 of you. May we be safe and protected. May we be peaceful and happy. May we be healthy and strong. May we be safe and protected. May we be peaceful and happy. May we be healthy and strong. Again, use your own words now, or continue repeating the phrases used to offer your kindness to the group of you. Kindly now expand the circle to include all of your loved ones and family members wherever they are. May we be safe and protected, peaceful and happy, healthy and strong. Further expand the circle to include all of the life forms in our communities, the people, animals, lands, air, lakes, and streams. May we all be safe and protected, peaceful and happy, healthy and strong. Further open and expand the circle to include all beings everywhere, as far and as wide as the heart can go. Try to cover the entire earth with your love if you are able. Send love to all beings of the land, the waters, and the air, and beyond. May all beings and all life everywhere, in all directions, without exception, and in all realms of existence, may you all be safe and protected, peaceful and happy, healthy and strong. From that expansive state of goodwill, have a sense of the goodwill that radiates out of your heart, protecting you and surrounding you. Continue to radiate out your goodwill as we share the merits of our practice. We share any merits gained from this practice with all beings and all life everywhere. May all life everywhere be free from suffering and misery. May all life everywhere abide in a deep and lasting peace. May all life everywhere know the highest forms of happiness and be at ease. May all life everywhere know their deepest essence to be joy, peace, compassion, and unconditional boundless love. May all life everywhere be fully and permanently liberated. Gently rouse the body by stretching the arms and legs, wiggling fingers and toes, doing some gentle spinal twists. And once the body is roused, you can take a short standing break and move the body in whatever way feels good and comfortable. And then when you get a chance to, turn your video back on and put a 1 or 2 word description of how that meditation went for you into the chat. Okay, so what do we have? Peaceful, nice and relaxing, invigorating, forgiving and peaceful, calming, loving. I especially enjoyed the circle of holding hands. Excellent, excellent. Any questions about that meditation? All right, you guys are making my job pretty easy here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that meditation, and those phrases are just ones that help us tap into our inner love for other beings, love and kindness. It's just about wishing others well. That's what kindness is all about, wishing the best for others. And there's nothing magic about the phrases we use. You can use your own ways of wishing well. Of course, we always just wish for people for their highest benefit. There is a sense of sort of thy will be done in the whole thing too, like recognizing that we're only wishing for the best of others if that goes along with the universal plan for what's unfolding here. So that's implied. All right, well, enough of that. Let's move on to our talk for tonight. Our talk is named after a Lenny Kravitz song, Let Love Rule. The falsehood of judgment and the practice of forgiveness. How do you feel when others judge you, devalue you, don't care about your well-being, or try to control you through their judgments, shaming, and guilt trips? How would it feel to you if you freed yourself from the suffering of these judgments? If that's something of interest to you, keep listening. As we have said from the beginning of this course, love is the best way of relating to all aspects of life. As Lenny Kravitz sang, we gotta let love rule. And the kind of love we're talking about is what the ancient Greeks called agape. It is a boundlessly inclusive love that is affectionate, active, powerful, platonic, and non-possessive. Some call it unconditional love, a recognition that all life is sacred, has value, worth, and purpose. To be loving, we need to renounce judgment and the bitterness, resentment, apathy, and grudges that judgment creates. This is our second talk on the topic of clinging and aversion. Judgment is a major category of aversion, and since we covered self-judgment in class 3, this talk will primarily address judgment towards other beings and life forms. As part of this talk, we will review the definition of judgment and its emotional and behavioral patterns and problems, review the liberating insight that all life is sacred, which helps us let go of judgment, and look at strategies to help us forgive others and relate to them with kindness instead of judgment. First, let's review our definition of judgment. Judgment is an attitude of mind that insults, devalues, or condemns any person, being, life form, or situation. As is the case with all aversion, the root of judgment is hatred, the desire to harm or control others. The defining characteristic is that it devalues anyone and anything. Conceptually, judgmental thoughts include insults, complaints, fault-finding, name-calling, blaming, should statements, and more. In addition to the content of the words, judgments can also be expressed in one's tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. For example, these words that I'm about to use seem pleasant, but they are delivered in actually a very judgmental way. That's wonderful. So, just as an example of how we express judgment using our facial expressions and body language. Now, emotionally, activated judgment towards others can feel like anger, hatred, fear, impatience, irritation, and resentment. Activated judgment towards ourselves, which we've probably all experienced during this course, can feel like shame, sadness, frustration, hopelessness, self-loathing, and depression. And all of these emotions have an unpleasant feeling tone. However, when judging others and situations that we're facing, we will experience the pleasant feelings of pride oftentimes. And we could also call these feelings arrogance or self-righteousness. Pride can make us feel confident and empowered, and this has a pleasant feeling tone. But pride is not a reliable way to find peace or joy in our lives. Pride enables us to feel the joy of self-love, but it is at the expense of others. Pride falsely thinks us superior to others. So this falsehood of superiority that's buried in pride generates a subtle restless quality to it that we can use to help distinguish pride from a true love and kind confidence free of arrogance. Moreover, the pleasure that pride brings depends on circumstances remaining a certain way. Given that all circumstances change, pride goes before the fall. The higher pride takes us up, the deeper the despair and shame we will feel when that inevitable crash comes. If you think you're hot stuff, yet your life feels like a series of emotional highs and lows, be on the lookout for the pride that comes from seeing yourself as better than other people, beings, and life forms. All of these judgmental emotions cause our minds to constrict and our hearts to close. Our thinking becomes narrow, unskillful, and tight. As our hearts close, we feel lonely, isolated, fearful, and tired. A judgmental mind and closed heart leads us to behave unskillfully. Behaviorally, the patterns of judgment, like all falsehoods, is unskillful actions. For example, the depression, shame, hopelessness, and overwhelm from self-judgment can lead us, on the mild end, to linger in bed for hours at a time, procrastinate, or on the more extreme end, develop harmful addictions, engage in self-harm, or cause us to commit suicide. The arrogance, hatred, anger, resentment, and fear that comes from judging other human beings can lead to harsh, malicious words on the mild end, and wars, prejudice, oppression, torture, mass shootings, and other acts of violence at the extreme end. And we all need to be part of the solution to these problems by appreciating the inherent worth and value of all human beings and behaving skillfully towards them. As it is, culturally, we have believed in human superiority over our animal relations, and this has led us to be pretty apathetic to their well-being. This ingrained cultural bias has led to the destruction of habitats and ecosystems, the establishment of factory farms that routinely mutilate, confine, abuse, and neglect animals, as well as other industries that similarly disregard animals, such as animal research, cosmetic testing, fur farms, and the wholesale slaughter of wild fish. Thankfully, people in the animal rights and protection movements work to counter this unskillfulness in our relationship with other animals, but we all need to be a part of the solution to these problems by appreciating the inherent worth and value of all beings and behaving skillfully towards them. In the same way, many have often taken for granted the life forms of the natural world, viewing them as our servants and here for our use. As a result, we see the pollution of land, air, and water, habitat loss, species extinctions, and global climate change, which threatens our planet's ability to sustain the current human population. Thankfully, people in the environmental movement work to correct this unskillfulness, but we all need to be a part of the solution to these problems by appreciating the inherent worth and value of all life forms and behaving skillfully towards them. So, with judgment, we see the same patterns as with all falsehoods. A false thought leads to afflictive emotions, which leads to unskillful actions. And as we can see, the consequences of the unskillfulness that we get from judgment are pretty vast and affect us on a global scale. Another way that judgment shows up in our lives is as resentment for those who have harmed us or those we love. Peace Pilgrim tells us, if you're harboring the slightest bitterness towards anyone or any unkind thoughts of any sort whatever, you must get rid of them quickly. They are not hurting anyone but you. It isn't enough to just do right things and say right things. You must also think right things before your life can come into harmony. And that's a tall order, but here's a story that gives an example from Peace Pilgrim's life working with a friend about resentment. And this is all her words. I knew another woman who was confined to her room and had been there for quite some time. I went in to see her, and I could tell immediately from the lines in her face and the tenseness of her that it wasn't physical at all. And I don't think I had talked to her for more than 5 minutes before she was telling me about how mean her sister had been to her. The way she told it, I knew she had told that story again and again and mulled over in her mind constantly that bitterness against her sister. I found myself explaining to her that if she would forgive, ask forgiveness, and make peace with her sister, then she could look for an improvement in her health. Huh? She said. I'd rather die. You have no idea how mean she was. So the situation drifted for a while. But early one morning at dawn, this woman wrote a beautiful and inspired letter to her sister, which she showed to me. I immediately went into town and mailed the letter before she could change her mind. When I got back, she had changed her mind, so it's a good thing I had mailed it. She worried a little, but by return mail came a letter from her sister, and her sister was so glad they were to be reconciled. And you know, on that same day that letter arrived from her sister, the woman was up and around and out of bed, and the last I saw of her, she was joyously off for a reconciliation with her sister. There's something to that old saying that hate injures the hater. The 2 points from this story that I want to emphasize, the first is hate injures the hater. Hatred makes the body ill. That's why Nelson Mandela said, resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Secondly, love heals. When we let go of our judgments and forgive those who wronged us, the healing power of love returns to our bodies. So now that we understand judgment, how does judgment affect you? How much of the world that you see is seen through the lens of judgment? Do you have a hierarchy of value in your mind between different people, different species, and different life forms? Do you still harbor resentment towards those who have wronged you or those that you love? How might your life improve if you could drop the judgment and hatred and offer kindness and love to all life? Only you can answer those questions. So let's turn now to ask, what do the wisdom traditions and teachers say on this subject about judgment? And what is the liberating insight that once we see clearly helps us just drop all judgment? Or at least significantly helps us on the path towards dropping all judgment. In short, the liberating insight is this: all life is sacred. All beings and life forms are children of life. They have inherent worth and value and deserve kind and respectful treatment. This message that all life is sacred is said in many ways by the different traditions. Non-dual traditions say, we are all one. During Peace Pilgrim's mystical event, she directly experienced the, quote, oneness of all creation. She said of her experience, quote, I knew before that all human beings are one, but now I knew also a oneness with the rest of creation. the creatures that walk the earth, and the growing things of the earth, the air, the water, the earth itself, and most wonderful of all, a oneness with that which permeates all and binds all together and gives life to all, a oneness with that which many would call God. If all creation is one with the divine, then all life forms are a manifestation of the divine. To disrespect any life form is to disrespect the Creator. Thus, we are to love our neighbor as ourselves and love our enemies. In the Islamic Judeo-Christian tradition's creation story, after creating the land, water, plants, animals, and humans, and everything else, God acknowledged the sacredness of all life by looking at all of creation and recognizing it as very good. Now you may be wondering, if all life forms are to be respected, am I saying we can't cut down trees, harvest plants for foods, and similar things? Good question. Indigenous wisdom traditions see plants, animals, earth, sky, and other life forms as part of an interconnected, mutually dependent family. The welfare of the human family depends on the health and well-being of all non-human family members. Understanding this, they honor and respect all life. And when their survival depends on the use of these relations, they have developed principles for how to conduct an honorable harvest. These principles generally seek to ensure the well-being of those life forms harvested. For example, if one were to cut a tree, one must first ask permission from the tree, give thanks to the spirit of the tree, only cut as many trees as are needed, and out of gratitude and respect, enter into a reciprocal relationship with the trees to actively improve the health and well-being of the remaining trees and their ecosystem. It is a very involved system, which I'm just glazing over here to give you a sample of what it is. But if you want to learn more about it, I encourage you to read the wonderful book by Robin Wall Kimmerer called Braiding Sweetgrass. The main point is they honor the sacrifices of other life forms which have been made so that they can survive. They do their best to limit harm and actively help that species and their habitat to thrive. All of this is done with love in their hearts, not judgment, not apathy, not cruelty. The life they use was part of a respectful, reciprocal relationship. And if we compare this to the industrialized world, it's really a far cry from our modern day practices where we clear cut forests, frack natural gas, mine mountains by blowing off the top of them, and so on. These practices are done from a mindset of judgment towards non-human life and a disregard for their well-being. Such practices need to change and come into alignment with the universal law that all life is sacred. So all life is sacred, which is to say that all life has inherent worth. What does this mean for those of us listening to this talk? Well, I think it means three things, or at least these are three things that can get us started. First, we need to practice forgiving others and ourselves. Second, we need to stop seeing other people as having free will to do whatever they want and recognize that, like us, they also run their delusional, impersonal conditioning. And when we recognize this, this is going to help us relate more kindly to those people who are doing harm. Third, we need to renounce judging everyone and everything and instead offer them kindness and goodwill. Let's look at each one of these things individually, starting with practicing forgiveness. Forgiving others for the harms they have done is challenging. So first, a few tips on how to do it. First, like in our meditations, start with people that are easier to forgive, and as this makes sense, then work to the harder and harder cases in your life. Don't start out with your worst nemesis, in other words. Second, remember that forgiveness is a gift that we give to ourselves. Forgiveness allows us to stop drinking the poison of judgment and embrace a mental attitude of love towards those who have been unskillful. Here is an example that Peace Pilgrim told about forgiveness. Let me tell you a story of a man adversely affected by negative thoughts. He was 65 years old when I knew him, and he was manifesting symptoms of what was called a chronic physical illness. When I talked to him, I realized there was some bitterness in his life. However, I couldn't put my finger on it right away because I saw he was getting along well with his wife, his grown children, and the folks in his community. But the bitterness was there just the same. I found that he was harboring bitterness against his father, who had been dead for many long years, because his father had not educated him as he had his brother. He was a very intellectual person, so I talked to him at length. When he, the oldest son, was to be educated, his father had absolutely not enough money to do it. In fact, the family was very poor at the time. There were several sisters after him, and I think 3 of them hadn't been educated either. His brother was the youngest, and by that time his father had more money and was able to educate the brother. He didn't begrudge his brother the education, he just thought he should have gotten it too. When he saw intellectually that his father had done the best he could do with both of his sons, then he was able to release the bitterness he had been harboring. That so-called chronic illness began to fade away, and soon the condition was much improved, and then it was gone. This story illustrates an example of investigations being done between 2 people having a conversation. She was basically like, hey, let's look at this story of pasting that you keep telling that has a lot of judgment involved in it, and let's tease out what's really going on here. And so I think it's a great example of that. And I think the story also illustrates 2 things really clearly. First, that hatred harms the hater. The man's bitterness contributed to his chronic physical illness, which resolved when he forgave his father. Second, and this is super important, but forgiveness is about your mental attitude towards others. And because forgiveness is about our attitude towards others, we can do it unilaterally without the other party's involvement and participation, as is the case in this story where the father had already passed away. Now, many people are reluctant to talk about forgiveness because they confuse forgiveness with having to be friends with the person again. And that's not always necessarily the case. Forgiveness is about dropping our mental judgments and can be done on our own. Reconciliation, on the other hand, is about repairing damaged relationships, and this requires that both parties are willing to be involved. Has the offending person apologized, made amends, and changed their unskillful ways? Then maybe reconciliation can happen. Or do they still pose a threat to the well-being of you and your loved ones? If so, then for your safety, you may need to cut them out of your life entirely, while still wishing well for them from a safe distance. The key point is that forgiveness is about a mental attitude, not a prescription for your behavior. Your behavior can do anything, again, under the umbrella of skillfulness, and there's a million ways to be skillful. Okay, let's move on to the second point. Seeing others' unskillful actions as impersonal conditioning. And I'm going to start with an example. During the 1950s and 60s civil rights movement in the United States, activists were trained to see their violent opponents as victims of their conditioning. And this created numerous examples of responding to violence with heroic love. And one example of this is in the early 1960s, a white man named David Hartsoe joined a group of civil rights activists and partook in a peaceful sit-in at a segregated lunch counter in Virginia to dramatize the injustices that people of color faced. The protesters had been sitting there for 2 days, not receiving any service. The crowd of angry and hostile white people surrounded them and harassed them nearly non-stop, and tensions were extremely high. Suddenly, David was pulled off his stool from behind and swung around to face a man holding a Bowie knife pointed directly at his chest. The man threatened, "You got 1 minute to get out of here, N-word lover, or I'm running this through your heart." David's eyes moved from the knife at his chest up to the man's eyes, where he saw what he described as, quote, "the worst look of hate I have ever seen in my life." David then calmly replied, "Well, brother, you do what you feel you have to, and I'm going to try to love you all the same." The man with the knife froze. 2 long seconds passed. Then the hand with the knife started shaking. Finally, the knife went down and the man left the lunchroom. On his way out, he discreetly wiped something from his cheek. The courage, composure, sacrifice, and love exhibited by David seems almost superhuman. And yet during the 1950s and 60s civil rights movement in the United States, this sort of heroism was common, shown by hundreds of ordinary people who were willing to and often did make sacrifices of life, health, property, and freedom to dramatize and reveal the injustices that Black people were facing on a daily basis. How was such heroic behavior consistently displayed across members of the civil rights movement who represented a diversity of ages, races, and genders? This happened because before doing demonstrations, they practiced seeing their own oppressors with love and compassion as victims of bad fortune. One of the practices civil rights activists trained with to prepare for protests is what can be called "imagine the innocent infant within." It works like this. Imagine your adversary as they were when they were an innocent newborn baby. All people, no matter how unskillfully they behave, were once innocent newborn babies. No one is born hating, despising, and wanting to harm or kill others. As you imagine this innocent baby, then, start to imagine what sort of abuse, fear, and terror this baby must have experienced growing up to become so distorted and confused that they could inflict such unskillful behavior. How must have the adults in their life treated them for them to think that such unskillful behavior is appropriate? How must they be suffering from fear, arrogance, and hatred to think that their violent actions make sense? People filled with such hatred suffer immensely and need our compassion. This technique helps transform, it helped transform their perspective, and we can use it to help transform our perspective. It reminds us that they too are sacred children of life, deserving of love and compassion. It reminds us of the bad fortune they must have received through no fault of their own. It helps us see them as victims of their impersonal conditioning, which harmed and warped them. It reminds us that if not for my good fortune, I would be them. Seeing their need for healing, we relate to them with love and compassion, just as David Hartsoe did with his aggressor. Now, for weeks, we have practiced seeing our own thoughts and emotions as conditioned and impersonal. This helps us treat ourselves with compassion and kindness, despite our unskillfulness. Now, we have to make the leap that others are also running their impersonal conditioning as well. To believe their conditioned and impersonal thoughts, they believe their conditioned and impersonal thoughts, and we need to have compassion for their unskillfulness too. When forgiving people, it is helpful to remember they did the best they could with what they had. Now, those of us in this class are learning that the main way out of our conditioning is through mindfulness. With mindfulness, we can disidentify from our conditioned thoughts and emotions and infuse them with love and skillfulness and wisdom and transcend our conditioning. Yet before we get arrogant about our mindfulness practice, know that coming to mindfulness, being interested in it, and having the time to practice it is completely due to our good fortune, or what some would call grace. We can't take credit for our practice. It was due to impersonal good fortune. All we can do is relate to those who suffer as prisoners of delusion with kindness and help create good fortune for them as well, just like David Hartsoe did with his aggressor. And just as we are not our conditioned thoughts and emotions, nor the unskillful behavior they drive, neither are others. Our true selves are the source of all life, wisdom, and love. It may be buried under many layers of falsehood, but it is still there, and it is still reachable through acts of kindness and love. Now, in addition to forgiving everyone and seeing unskillful behavior as a result of conditioning and bad fortune, we want to renounce judging everyone and everything, and instead offer them kindness and goodwill. As we go through our day, we can silently wish all we encounter words of kindness, such as, "May you be safe and protected. May you be peaceful and happy. May you be healthy and strong." Use these phrases from your meditation to shower others with your kindness and goodwill. As part of this, we can also renounce all judgmental thoughts. When they arise in the mind, be mindful of them. Allow them to come. See their impersonal nature. Investigate them to see how they are untrue. Then lovingly respond to them with kindness and wisdom. Through this process, which we have been practicing, we recondition our mind to be more loving, kind, and compassionate. We help our mind to be, we also are helping let go of seeing our mind as the one that's going to give us answers to everything. And we start to feel more comfortable resting in our heart and resting in our intuition about how to relate towards others. And as we do this transition from living a mental life and trying to figure out everything mentally and then use that conceptual mentalizing to move through the world, we are moving into more of a kinesthetic approach to living, where we trust our instinct and we trust our heart, and we let our heart rule, which means we let love rule. And so we can live by the motto, if a thought is not kind, it is not true. And we will know we are getting good. And hopefully over the course of these weeks, as we've investigated our judgments, we've been seeing time and time and time again that if a thought is not kind, it's not true. And we're going to know we're getting good at seeing the lie in judgment when others judge us or treat us poorly and we do not emotionally suffer from it. Our love shields us. Just as we don't believe our judgmental thoughts, we stop believing the judgmental thoughts of everyone else. Rather than view them as the enemy that must be destroyed, which is kind of an egoic way of viewing it, we see them as a friend lost in the dark woods of delusion. We see them as suffering and in need of compassion. Through our kind, compassionate, and skillful response to them, we provide them with good fortune that may help them find their way out of the woods. In this process, their judgments do not affect us mentally or psychologically. As Peace Pilgrim says, "Now, someone could do the meanest thing to me, and I would feel deep compassion for this out of harmony person, this sick person who is capable of doing mean things. I certainly would not hurt myself by a wrong reaction of bitterness or anger. You have complete control over whether you will be psychologically hurt or not, anytime you want to, you can stop hurting yourself. And I argue the way we do that is to stop believing all judgments. And we've got the skills, we've been practicing the skills, just keep implementing, keep seeing the falsehood until it becomes so obviously clear that if it's not true, if it's not kind, it's not true. Okay, I've said a ton tonight. I'm sorry. But to review, this is one of my favorite topics, honestly. It's like, this is the one that I just see the clearest. But to review, commit to ending your judgment of others. Stop sorting the world into groups of good people and bad people. See everyone as sacred. And stop believing that people have free will, and recognize how we are all just conditioned beings doing our best to be happy, who are skillful and unskillful depending on the amount of good and bad fortune we've had in our lives. Recognize that all life is sacred. See the good, the divine in everyone and everything, and relate to them all with love. Live by the motto, if it's not kind, it's not true. Renounce judgment, forgive those who've wronged you, love your enemies as yourself, and also love your neighbors. Love your neighbors as yourself, and also love your enemies. Imagine if we all lived this way. Imagine the kind of world we would live in. Gone would be bullying and flame wars and actual wars. We could work together cooperatively to solve our global problems. All beings would be seen as valuable and worthy. The earth would be healthy and thrive. We'd create a diverse, harmonious, global beloved community that would follow Lenny Kravitz's sage advice and let love rule. Let's take a mindful pause. Okay, any questions, comments, or reactions to tonight's talk? We've got a few minutes for that. Are you trying to say something, Scott?
Oh, I was going to unmute. I was just going to say that I think this will be probably one of the easier ones to recognize and investigate. Probably,
Nice.
at least for myself. And yeah.
Good, good. Yeah, and we've been working on it for a while. I know I'm trying to gently push you all, right? I feel like I'm like trying to get you to think broader, be pushed a little here, but in a gentle way. So I know this is challenging stuff, and I know it's going to take some time for people to kind of digest it and experiment with it in your own lives. But if there, certain things come up to you where you're like, I'm not sure what he meant, or I don't understand this, always feel free to email me or ask me a question. Lisa, you're off of mute. Did you have something to say? Oh,
No, I was just, I wanted to check and make sure I was off of mute. So no, but I thought it was very good, Freeman.
oh, well, thank you. um, any other questions or comments? All right. Well, again, you can always email me with questions later on when they show up. And I'll also stick around after class to answer any questions you may have. In the meantime, if you could cut and paste, I'm going to cut and paste this link into the chat for a evaluation form. And if you could fill that out, that's always appreciated. And just write MF8 for the class content field in the evaluation. And now let's move into our closing meditation. Let's take a mindful pause. Our time together, learning how to come home to love, truth, and joyful service, brings us many benefits. We freely share these benefits energetically with all beings and all life, that they too may benefit from our meditation practice. May all people, all beings, and all life be free from suffering, safe and protected, healthy and strong, peaceful and happy. Fantastic. Next week, we will continue our exploration of craving and aversion, focusing on craving. And thank you all for all the effort that you're putting into your practice and your spiritual growth. Please keep doing your practice with kindness, patience, love, and persistence. Be well. I love you and wish you peace, love, wisdom, and joy. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Freeman.
Thanks, Freeman.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Freeman. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you all.